So my name is John Ironman. I am the Associate Head of School for Energy Construction Environment at Coventry University. I'm an ex-civil engineering professional, and I teach on the civil engineering course. And I'm here talking today with Tim, and Tim will introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Tim Fawcett. I'm a project director with Mott MacDonald, and I lead public transport projects, mainly in the Midlands, but I've worked all over the world.
So the reason that I've asked Tim to come and have a chat with me is because obviously we teach new students, and we've got a lot of young people thinking about what degrees to do and what universities to go to, and some of them perhaps slightly alarmed, and certainly some of their parents slightly alarmed at the messages coming out in the press about construction industry recession, and generally hard times ahead. I have my views as an academic, and I look at it on a slightly longer term view, but it's nice to hear from somebody actually in the industry who's got a view on it and how busy they are at the time, which is why you're here, Tim. So how are you? Are you busy?
I am very busy. Yeah, so all my projects are still going on. Nothing's stopped. With the kind of the technology platforms we have available to us now, as soon as the government gave their kind of stay-at-home order, all of our staff, which is 8,000 in the UK, I think it was something like 90% of them were working from home the next day. So and then all of our technology and systems and software is all online, which makes it really easy actually to continue working for, especially for the pre-contract stuff, the design, the development, the consenting of projects. Yeah. And we're also still seeing new work coming in. We're still seeing clients putting out new requests for tender. So it's still busy, and there's been no real let up, thankfully.
That's always good. Yeah, I mean, my personal view is, I said, take a slightly longer term view, and you look at global population rises, that will need housing, infrastructure, everything provided for that. The whether we move to a green new deal or the green economy now, it's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years. There is still an international shortage of civil engineers and construction professionals. I understand that it's going to be tough for the grads coming out now. So, what's the situation from an industry point of view for people graduating now, I suppose?
Yeah, so there's been discussion about it just really recently, actually. One of the lessons we've learned from previous recessions, so the last one was 2008, 2009, and the previous one in the early 90s, was that in both of those recessions, the industry as a whole kind of stopped recruiting for a year or two. And what that meant was as the economy started building again, and just at the time when people you might have recruited at the depth of the recession were getting to the point where they were getting chartered and getting a lot of experience, starting to become very, very valuable to clients and to projects. Well, there weren't any because you hadn't recruited them. So it created a gap in the workforce, and that's kind of propagates through the career. So it's still, from 10 years ago when we kind of really did reduce recruitment, we're now feeling the pain of that now. And so there will be a very conscious effort, I believe, from the industry, definitely from Mott MacDonald, to continue recruiting staff even when the short-term economic output is outlook is there will be challenges.
Yeah. So do you think there's just been a bit of a sea change in how companies are forecasting now, that they're looking for that longer term stability and growth rather than necessarily the short term budgets?
Definitely. I mean, there's still, of course, short-term budgets and kind of cash flow is still really important, but definitely there is a kind of, we want to learn from the mistakes we've made in the past and make sure we don't have a gap in our workforce that, over time becomes a real problem. Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing I would say is that that a lot of one of the things our industry does that gives you the opportunity to travel around the world, and different parts of the world will emerge from the situation in different ways. It was 10 years ago during the last recession that I moved to the US. I went there for 6 years, and it was a perfect opportunity. There was not that much work around in the UK. There was lots of work in the US. I went out there. There was lots of work, had a good time, and came back, and it worked out pretty well. And there's lots and lots of people who did a similar thing.
So you're still working on those international projects, even though obviously you're not sending staff over there at the moment.
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to the technology and the software, the technology platforms we have. Our teams increasingly are based all over the world. So for one of my projects currently, there are people from the Czech Republic and Spain contributing to the project, and soon we'll have someone from Canada contributing as well. So boundaries become a lot more blurry, especially in big organizations, and so I actually think the current situation will probably accelerate that a bit, where everybody has seen now how successful we can be, where no one's in the same space as each other. Everyone's in there. There's 8,000 people in my business in the UK. There's now 8,000 offices, and the projects still keep going. The deliverables still going out the door. The world keeps on turning. So I think in the future what this might do is be a bit of a catalyst for the way clients and businesses think about how we deliver things, and that will give an opportunity to be a bit more flexible about the way we work and where staff actually are located.
So if you were an 18-year-old looking, and possibly also their parents who are going to, in some ways, whether it's just emotional support, some financial, would you be worried at all about degree in construction?
No more than in any other field, I don't think. I think the opportunities are really good. They're there. They're real. I mean, there will be short-term challenges. I've got no doubt about that. But the opportunities in the long term absolutely will be there. I think other than maybe medical degrees, I can't think of any industry that won't be affected in some way in the short term. But construction is probably, or engineering more generally, is probably one of the sectors that I think has the biggest opportunities over the next few decades as a response to the climate emergency, as one example.
Yeah. So exciting times ahead then.
Definitely.